Now, when it comes to Drake, well now, if you are ready to see how Drake's red button ended up being the biggest failure he has ever had, and well, with this, he has not just made all of us in reality laugh at him once again, but now the human cupcake has left his biggest fans absolutely livid at him, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And while I don't think any stans are gonna be yelling at us this time because, well, they agree with how bad this was for once, still make sure to leave those likes so everybody can see how monumental the impact of all of this is really about to be for Drake's downfall, because truly, this moment really is a turning point for the worse, and something that is showing us how bad Drake's descent in rap has really gotten. Because to see not just the hip-hop heads, but the groups that Drake has been pandering to non-stop, like DJ Akademiks and all of his other lame stans, say that Iceman Episode 3 and all of the new music he played in it was trash. Well, all of a sudden, to see all these people actually say something critical of Drake, this is shocking. And really, this is about the worst thing that could have happened for him right now, and what I think is going to end up going down as a moment that we will see for the rest of hip-hop history, as really just one of the biggest indicators of Drake's decline on the rap and cultural ladder and how everybody has turned against him, all comes from none other than Kai Cenat and his reaction to all of this, which, well, with one of the most influential voices to the group and audience that Drake has been trying to pander to so hard with everything he has been doing since the beef, but really for years at this point. Well, for Kai to just call Drake and the garbage he had to watch on screen out and not just say that it's mid or lame or anything like that, but to ultimately curse out this entire thing as he went on a mini rant about how Drake wasted over an hour of his time with filler slop. And really, for Kai, this is a rare moment where it doesn't seem like he's in character or he's acting and he's actually mad. Well, listen, this speaks volumes, and for Kai's highly impressionable audience, this is going to be something that when we really look back at Drake and this downfall, listen, I don't care how you try to argue and spin all of this, he will never come back from that. Because truly, with the biggest streamer and one of the biggest voices to the very group that Drake has been trying to win over, to just see him rage all the way to the point where he jumped out of his chair and told us the truth about how he feels. I mean, with all of that and with the specific words he said about not being able to fake this, and Kai really made an emphasis on just showing that he was being honest and not acting anymore. Well, with this very moment, from Kai showing that no matter what Drake has begged him to do, he is done, even Kai having to say that he is not faking it in of itself, which almost shows how much Drake has tried to control these creators and what they are saying. Well, overall, what the lesson is and why this is so important and why this is really the inciting moment that is going to show how bad Iceman Episode 3 was over everything else, is because we are really at the point now where Drake's music has gotten so bad, and well, as a person, he is so lame that people more than ever are just over him and don't even care about what the consequences of this will be. And now, speaking of this, well, now further showing that the grift is over and people are tired of faking everything, well, things only got bigger from here, as with DJ Akademiks and other major names in the Drake content grifting community, they were so distraught by this that they ended up doing town halls after and talking about how shocked they were by all of this as well. And listen, when you see Ak and all the other people who have been standing and vouching by Drake for their careers now calling him out, this truly does speak volumes about how bad Lawbury messed up here, because for Ak and these other people who have really devoted themselves to praising Lawbury, just saying that this was a miss, well, to the greatest degree, what this is highlighting is that these people can't even act like what Drake is doing is cool anymore, or that it's even interesting or compelling from any sort of a standpoint. And now, once again for Drake, well, to speak out against this petty Karen egomaniac who has turned on people for a lot less, all of this should just be telling you that everything for Drake is in more trouble than it ever has been. And really, I can't blame these guys, because what I will say is a clear reason and huge factor of why so many people from the Karen side are super disappointed and angry about all of this, and why Drake is really losing fans now. Well, it's because, just like Ak was saying on one of his sad town halls where he was complaining about how mid what Drake just did was, well, ultimately is all because going into Iceman Episode 3, well, I talked about this with you all in my last video, they were saying that this was going to be Drake's red button and he was going to be going after Kendrick Lamar and starting some sort of a round or game 2 against him. And now, whether Drake is holding off on that or he actually just thought that this was going to be that, It doesn't matter because he has clearly betrayed the trust of his own fans and audience, and he is not going to get it back anytime soon from the looks of it, because really, the more you look into episode 3 of Iceman and everything that it has stood for, I mean, the only thing that Drake is showing that he is really honing in on and mastering at this point is just how to waste everybody's time. Because really, with an entire stream where absolutely nothing was going on despite everything moving around, well, let's just break it down. From more weird shots, which are trying to act like they are this deep and meaningful thing, but actually have about as much thought and symbolism put into it as Minions movies, to Drake trying to act tough and cool while he's driving a car and it's stalled in the middle of the street, to Drake then trying to create Eyes Wide Shut or something like that with this weird Pinocchio moment where everybody's standing around and looking at him in suits, which just like, what are we even doing here? Or this is my favorite one, where Pinocchio is standing on ice and then he's moving around in it, and Drake probably thought he was Wes Anderson for doing this. Well, listen, these are just a few of the things that happened within this, and with no payoff to any of this, what now people have realized, even on the Karen side, well, is that if a guy who has been very vocal and who has built an entire fan base around making fun of music and art being layered, doing all of this, and now trying to act like he is as insightful as any sort of a real artist, and at the same time, we do know that Drake is a guy who does not even write his own raps and really does not even come up with any of his own creative visions. Well, listen, even the Drake fans get it now. He is just being an aesthetic grifting merchant who is trying to act like there is so much more going on with these than there ever was supposed to, and that he ever even designed them to have. And now with more people than ever just seeing through the tricks of all of this and realizing that the Iceman has melted and all that is really left is the Slop Man, well, now Drake in this entire rollout has never been in a worse place, no matter what anybody wants to tell you and no matter what stands try and yell at you with. And now with this stream, while Drake could have tried to bring his loser fanbase together one more time with music that played into literally any single thing that these mid-lovers loved about your mid for years, well, with the handful of songs that Drake played here, they were all so boring or bad that he didn't even manage to do that. And matter of fact, Drake really ended up doing the opposite, because seemingly with the big record that he played here, which did garner the most noise and that I forgot the name of because it's so generic, well, this just sounded like a What Did I Miss clone. And well, if you were cloning your flops to be your lead singles for your most important drops, well, between this and then copying Cash Cobain and Yeet for the other tracks, this explains why you were never going to be at the top or anywhere close to it ever again. As really with all these other freestyles or impersonations that Drake is doing and previewing here, well, he's ultimately just showing that with his back being against the wall and with him really having maybe the most important album release of his entire career, he's got absolutely nothing and he is just wasting every single person's time, whether you are a fan or a hater, and you can really only say that for a few other crash outs in the history of music. And honestly, I do think if Drake dropped Iceman today, it would go triple wood, and I am serious, as now with every Iceman episode, despite snippets and whatever is being played within the stream, well, every time they have all concluded, a new song doesn't just end up being played by Drake, but a new single drops? Well, for Cupcake, as he didn't just drop a new song or even something that was a part of the rollout for Iceman, but ultimately he ended up running back to his last album and put out a trash Cash Cobain assisted part 2 track of Somebody Loves Me from SSS for You. We'll cue the Kendrick line about the famous actor we once knew looking paranoid and now spiraling, because really in all of this fall off from Drake, have we ever seen him moving more uncalculated and unhinged? Because really, you're telling me with all of the time that this guy has had to prepare now and with all of the teases and hypes that he keeps putting into these very moments, and well, that he just did with episode 3. I mean, after saying you had a red button coming, you are still failing to deliver on the most basic of levels? I mean, this is atrocious, and really Drake has never been in more trouble. And now as Drake is in big trouble, well, things are about to get worse. But before I can get the Drake stans more mad at me, I have something exciting to tell you all, which is now that when it comes to my channel, well, I just launched our first ever channel memberships, and with this, well, from exclusive videos which will be dropping right here to getting your name featured in these videos that you are watching right now as an executive producer, well, listen, if you want to support this channel extra, you are going to be immortalized and solidified into the Hall of Fame of our content, and well, in historic moments of this downfall for Drake or in the rise of Kendrick Lamar or whatever else we are covering. Listen, if you join, your name will be there forever to show how much you helped me do all of this. And well, in addition to this, well, listen, if you join, I'm going to give you the ultimate tool to troll and counter Drake stans with, which are these custom emojis that will make the Drake stans yapping in the comments just run away faster than ever. And so listen, if you want to join, you can do it right here from the channel with the link I left in the description or the pinned comment. And what I have to say to all of you who keep helping me out, thank you so much. It truly does mean everything to me. But now, as I thank all of you, well, listen, hating on Drake is calling to me like the Green Goblin mask, and I told you we were not done packing this loser out. And really now, there is still somehow so much more to unpack within this mess that he has just left us all now with. And what I will say, and what has never been more clear after Iceman episode 3 over everything else, is that, listen, I don't care who you are and what side you stand on. Every single person has to agree with this now, which Drake stands, just calm down. But it's that Drake does not have any sort of a direction or plan for what he is doing here. And after seeing his own fans just bash this thing, and people like Kai, well, just create iconic moments where he is dissing and making fun of the quality of his artistry, well, this is truly going to set back and delay this record that I am sure right now already had no plan of dropping, because the entire industry, including Drake, well, beyond his own issues, is terrified of Taylor Swift and everything she is doing, and will go silent to avoid competing with her on any level. And listen, Drake stans, the guy literally did say this, so don't come at me. But really now, with this level of backlash for Drake, I do think that from a creative point, with whatever music that he does have, the backlash from this will make him go back to the drawing board and figure out how to just get the smallest win possible for whatever will be left of the stans who have stuck around for just way too long. Because now with 3 episodes of this lame and embarrassing series, but with each episode that Drake has amongst all the failure, he is also testing and now has enough data to see that the people really are not rocking with everything he has to offer. And overall, for the numbers and standards that he is obsessed with, and really the only reason he has been creating music for over a decade now with altogether, he is just failing to reach those heights, and he can't compare with any of the pop stars that he obsesses over, and well, Kendrick Lamar, or any of the other rappers running things. And really for Drake, as we all now see it, this failed attempt to be an aesthetic merchant failed so bad, and well, you got nothing to offer musically, and you have never been more cooked. Well, listen, what I am sure is that things are only going to go more downhill from here, and we are about to see this entire Iceman episode 3 just tear so many different things apart. And what I can say with all of this is that, listen, Drake, you are just making this way too easy for me. And if you keep going like this, well, listen, we know the game you're playing, and if you keep failing this bad musically and the numbers keep dropping, and you're so scared to even release new music that you're just putting out weird throwaway remixes and running back to past album errors to try and counter the failure and the inevitable defeat that is coming your way, well, listen, we really may get a point where Drake actually may end up full-on retiring, and with the response that Iceman episode 3 is going to get over the next few days, we'll just monitor all of this and really see how close we are to the full downfall of Drake. Now, with all of this said, let me know what you think about how bad Iceman episode 3 was, and what your thoughts were about everything from the trash songs that were played to the weird Pinocchio shots, which Drake probably thought that he was Stanley Kubrick for making, although, of course, this really does make the minions look like the Godfather. Now listen, if you made it to this point in the video, once again, remember that our memberships are now live, and you can help out the channel and get a ton of awesome things that are really going to both benefit your experience in watching this channel, as you will be immortalized in the credits of these videos. And listen, if you want to help me out extra, while I already can't thank you enough for just tuning in, it really does mean a lot to help out an independent creator like myself the way you would be doing. And now, if you want to see how right before this, well, one thing that is clear about this is that the predictions that Drake and his team set really ended up ruining this, and I talked about those predictions in my last video, which was all about how Drake was trying to start a round 2 with Kendrick Lamar, or at least that's what we thought. Well, once again, if you want to see why the Drake fans really did turn on him in terms of what the expectations were going into Iceman episode 3, well, you're not going to want to miss this one. Check out the suggested video.